Yo, what's up, everybody? Tonight's the big game. The one game that everybody's been waiting for all weekend long. It's going to be Ohio State, Virginia Tech. Number one, number one team in the country, Ohio State, coming into Lane Stadium on a Monday night. The atmosphere is absolutely going to be exciting, tremendous. The fans are going to be. They've been pre-gaming all day. I am in Southwest Virginia. I am alumni of Virginia Tech. It's an exciting day, and like I said, people have been tailgating all day. The fans are going to break down this game. Let's not make this video too long. Let's break down this game and exactly what I think is going to happen tonight. Um, I'm. If you see this video on the day that this game occurs, be aware that I may be doing live reactions, just depending on what I'm doing during the game. I might go see some friends. I may not, but I may stay here and do some live reaction videos to the game. Uh, but I want to talk about a few things that I think are very important about tonight's game, and that is last year Virginia Tech was able to beat Ohio State, then ranked number 8 in the country, and they were able to do it through Beamer ball, and that's defense and special teams. And if you haven't seen this game or remember this game, you remember that similar to this game tonight, Virginia Tech was a big underdog, and somehow they were coming off a rough season the season before that, 2013, and coming into 2014. Kind of the same situation this year. Virginia Tech's coming into a rough season, or coming off a rough season, coming into the 2015 season, and so tonight's game is very similar to last year's game, as really it is the underdog Virginia Tech versus the now defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. And so how was Virginia Tech, number one, able to win last year's game, and number two, can they do to repeat pretty much last year's performance, which I will say, after rewatching this game recently, was a really nearly flawless performance by both sides of the ball and special teams for Virginia Tech. It was a total team win, defeating the Ohio State Buckeyes 35-21. So there's number three. I don't even want to number them because I don't know how many key elements to this game are. But number one, the first thing that comes down to mind is third down conversions. Last year, Virginia Tech, let me go ahead and do a screen share for you so I know, so we can talk about what exactly I'm talking about here. Okay. All right. Here's some stats that I've looked up, getting particularly to last year's games. Last year, Virginia Tech averaged 24.1 points a game. They gave up 20.2 points a game. I really think the magic number, and when I say the magic number, I think when I say that's the number of points that they can give up and still have a chance to win the game. And I think the magic number for Virginia Tech will be 21 points. Up any more than 21 points, it's going to be difficult for them to have a chance to win this game. Last year, they just gave up points and were able to win it 35-21. But any game where Virginia Tech gives up more than 21 points, whether it be 23, 24, 28, 27, any of those numbers, they're going to have a tough time winning the game. And they probably won't win the game. 24 points. Maybe I will go up to 23 points. But I think really they have to keep the opponent 21 points and under in order to win the game. Anytime that the opponent will score more than 21 points, I think it's either going to go into overtime, 23, 24, 27, 30, 28, something like that, or we'll lose. So, Ohio State 35-21, as I've already said. They were able to get, as this thing says, 7 sacks last year in that game, and that's another key point of this game. Not only third down conversions, but the ability to sack the quarterback, put pressure on the quarterback, because last year's pressure on the quarterback, see here, last year's pressure on the quarterback forced Ohio State to throw 3 interceptions compared to Virginia Tech's 2, and turnovers were actually even in last year's game, 3-3, but Virginia Tech controlled the clock 33 minutes to 26 minutes. So number one, Virginia Tech's ability to put pressure on the quarterback, 7 sacks last year's game, ability to control the clock, 33-26. If Virginia Tech gave up 107 yards, so really one of the key stats last year for Tech to win the ball game was the 2 missed field goals by Ohio State, both makeable field goals. Ohio State was 0 for 2 with field goals in that game. They could have taken the lead, or at least made it more competitive in the first half, but instead they missed the 2 field goals. So last year's game was really a lot of big breaks for Virginia Tech. Big breaks meaning they gave up. Ohio State gave up 7 sacks. The quarterback threw 3 interceptions. The field goal kicker missed 2 field goals. Virginia Tech was able to convert some very key third downs. Virginia Tech was able to get more first downs than Ohio State. Virginia Tech was able to control the clock. Virginia Tech was able to put pressure on the quarterback. Everything that Virginia Tech had to do last year to win the ball game was exactly what they did, and it was an amazing ball game to watch. And 2 touchdowns is even more amazing, and that it was really just a great performance by Tech. If we look at Ohio State's points from last year, they averaged 44 points a game last year, giving up only 22. Now, Tech defense was a little better. Tech defense was still known for its defense. In 13 games, they only gave up 262 points compared to 30 for 15 games for Ohio State. So 2 more games for Ohio State maybe skewed things in a way, but these defenses are both going to be coming off. So tonight, knowing what the score was last year, knowing that Tech, that the magic number for Tech in order to win this game is 21. Tonight's ball game, the only keys for Virginia Tech to win is for them to pretty much do the exact same performance as last year. They're going to have to at least cause 2 turnovers in this game. They're going to have to stack the quarterback at least 4 times. They're going to have to get at least 50% of their third downs, and they're going to have to make every field goal and hope that Ohio State throws some interceptions, misses a few field goals. It has some tough breaks on third down, and again, it's always going to come down to a game of field position as well. Who's going to win the field position game? If Tech has to go 90 yards for every drive, then it's going to be a lot tougher than if Ohio State has to only go 50 yards for every drive. So very early on, we're going to be able to tell. One of the things that you can always tell that Virginia Tech's going to win is if they go up by number one, if they score first. I would have to say that if Virginia Tech scores first, and then number one score a touchdown first, they're like 75% likely to win the games. I think if you look back at the games and you see who scored first, if you see Tech scored the first touchdown, then most likely Tech is the winner of that game. Tech was able to go up by 2 touchdowns in last year's first half. So if they're able to go up by at least 10 points at one point during the game, look for Virginia Tech to – anytime Virginia Tech goes up by 10 points or more, that is with the defense that they have, it is almost impossible to come back and win that ball game. Virginia Tech is one of the toughest teams to come from behind on, but at the same point, they are one of the worst teams if they get behind, because if they get behind 7, 10, 13 points, then it's going to be it's. I don't see Virginia Tech winning this ball game. They're going to have to keep it competitive the whole time. If it's a very close game coming down to the last minute, it's going to go down to who has the last possession and whose kicker is the best. But I don't see it coming down to the final possession. I'm actually seeing a Ohio State win tonight, and I'm seeing probably a big win tonight because I don't think Virginia Tech can repeat the same performance that it had last year. I think last year was a lot of Ohio State mistakes. Like I said, they missed the field goals, they threw the interceptions, they gave up to 7 sacks. And if Virginia Tech can repeat that same performance, then I would think they will win. But I don't see that happening. I think last year's performance not a fluke, because Virginia Tech can be a good team. But I don't even know if I was sharing that with excuse me. But Virginia Tech can be a good team. So last year's game was not so much a fluke, but I think about it like this. Like I just said, if they go up points 10-0, then they will. Pretty much my prediction for tonight will be probably win this game, maybe 35, 38, 34. All right, I'll make a final prediction, 34-17, Ohio State. I don't think Virginia Tech's going to repeat last year's performance. I really hope that they do, but the smart pick would be to realize the last year's game, Ohio State had a lot of mistakes. It was a freshman quarterback in its first game, and this is the national champion. And as far as big crowds goes, Lane Stadium is a exciting place to play. It can be very loud, and tonight's game will be a showcase of that. But Ohio State is used to big games and big stadiums, and this is not going to be intimidating to them at all. So I look for them not to be really disturbed by the crowd. Look for the crowd too. I mean, on third downs, we'll have to see, especially depending on who the quarterback's going to be. But I think Ohio State's probably going to win this game 34-17. If Virginia Tech were to win this game, I predict them winning maybe 27-24. 27-24. But like I said, really the magic number is 21. If they let over 21, I might even say 27-24. Or I might say 24-24 going in. I might say that Virginia Tech gets like a last-second field goal to tie the game at 24, going to overtime. They battle out for 2 overtimes, and the final score might end up being like 35-31 or 35-28 in 2 overtimes or something like that. I could see something like that, 35-28 in 2 overtimes. If Virginia Tech were to win, tying the game at 24, going into overtime. But otherwise, I really see Ohio State maybe winning this game, maybe 34-17. That's my prediction. So stay tuned. I might be doing some live reactions to this game later on, and if not, subscribe to the channel, and I will be doing more things like this throughout the season. If you like, I plan to do talk about WWE, talk about college football, talk about the NFL, and may even talk about some baseball depending on what teams get in and if I still have interest in that. All right. Peace out. Enjoy the game. Go Hokies.